Growing up, I became more and more increasingly concerned that I would never find a woman who would tick all of my boxes. A good woman. And funnily enough, this is still quite a new issue for me because for the longest time, I didn't get any attention from women at all. And I suppose this fueled my line of thinking as to why I thought I would never get a girl who would actually end up ticking all of my boxes. Because if I can't get any girl's attention, then I'm certainly not going to get the attention of a good girl. I was a little bit slow growing up, so this was enough to set me behind socially in the very autistic social hierarchy that you find in schools. Maybe I wasn't a cool kid because I didn't care about football. I was a little bit late to noticing that women were very beautiful and sexy for whatever reason that may be. I think I was just too distracted playing Minecraft and trying to figure out how to build the most epic castle I possibly could. So for that reason, I didn't really hang out with the cool kids. And because I didn't hang out with the cool kids, I didn't get any of the attention from women. And this negative feedback loop that I found myself in early on in my life was enough to actually carry on over into my early adult life. Because I wasn't socialized enough with women inside of school, I found that a lot of men, when we left school, were way ahead of me. They had already taken girls on dates, they had experienced things with women at that point, and I was completely inexperienced with anything at all. I barely even spoke to women, let alone take them out on dates or have any sort of sexual experiences with them. I was lagging behind. And for this to change, I had to make a very conscious effort to level up. Whereas for most people at this point, it sort of just worked for them. They sort of just fell into a positive feedback loop on accident, whereas I had to work really hard to get into one. So if you're watching this video and you're anything like me, you were a bit slow to the game. Let's not pill ourselves. Let's just work on it and get back in the game. The problem I faced though is when I was very early on into my self-development and I started to get some female attention, it was so scarce in its nature that I would overly attach myself to women. I would straight away just picture our lives together, white picket fence, 7 children, living in a lodge somewhere, cutting wood while she makes me dinner, you know, whatever the fuck I'd fantasize about. I'd paint this picture in my head of this perfect, beautiful, feminine, pure woman, and it was a masterpiece, a Mona Lisa. This girl became a masterpiece to me as soon as she gave me any attention at all. And because she was a masterpiece, I would attach all of my self-worth to her, and I'd go all in on these relationships. And this proved to be insanely destructive. It led me to a horrible scarcity mindset. The sort of mindset where there's only one girl in the world who could ever fulfill me and make me feel this way. And there's only one girl in the world who ticks this many boxes. Because she's so beautiful and perfect and pure and feminine and awesome, my ultra scarcity mindset and my massive attachment issues would always drive them out of my life. And every time that happened, the facade that I had painted would be shattered. My masterpiece would go up in flames. And I would start to see her for who she really was, rather than my idealized version of her. But weirdly, even though my perfect painting of her would always be shattered, I would always be convinced that I had peaked in terms of the quality of woman and quality of relationship I would have in my life. I always thought that that was going to be the best I'll ever have now, and it's only downhill from here. I would never find another girl who would come that close to ticking all of my boxes. And I felt that way because I had fallen in love with the idea of her rather than who she actually is. And that's proven by the fact that every single time I did leave a relationship, my next one was always an upgrade, no matter what. Upgrade in every sense, always more attractive, always more feminine, always more lovely. In every sense of the matter, the next relationship I'd be in was always a massive upgrade. It was never a downgrade. And coincidentally, as I continued on my journey of self-development, the quality of relationships I was having in my life were directly correlated, and they were continuing to rise alongside my development, coincidentally. I continued looking after my mind, my body, my spirit, and for that I was rewarded better relationships. The quality of women I would attract correlate to my own developmental journey. And each time I would get closer and closer and closer to my idea of my soulmate. But sadly, my attachment issues were still not fixed, and I also still had a scarcity mindset issue. And every time it was the same pattern repeating over and over and over again. I would overly attach myself to her, I would paint her in my head as a masterpiece, and every time the same thing happened. I drove them away from me because I was overly committed, and the facade I painted for myself was once again shattered. I was continually attaching far too much of my my self-worth and my self-love into my relationships. And this continued to happen until I was able to update my self-image, and I realized that I was worthy, genuinely worthy of a feminine, pure, beautiful woman's love. And I didn't have to treat this girl as if she was the only one in the world who could possibly give me that, because I am worthy of love, and she would be actually blessed to have a man like me in her life. The thing is, this realization took so long for it to click in my brain. A long time of me just continuously accumulating wins, big and small, whether that was just fixing my sleeping pattern, getting into the gym, making some money online, eating better, buying some clothes that fit me better. All of these small micro decisions that I made on a day-to-day basis worked in unison to update my self-image over a period of time, to the point where I realized, oh yes, I am worthy of love. I remember there was a point where I'd post pictures of my girlfriends on my Snapchat or my Instagram stories, and I would always caption them something like, I'm so lucky. I guess the flip that has switched in my brain now is that when I look at myself in the mirror, I don't see someone who is lucky. I see someone who is worthy. And this really fucking matters, by the way, because it's only with that realization that I'm able to maintain a healthy relationship with a feminine, pure, beautiful woman. Something important to note as well is that only through my continual sacrifice of self have I become worthy of such a girl who checks all of my boxes. I have a high moral standing and values which don't get compromised. I look after my mind, my body, my spirit. I live with a good and pure heart. I don't treat people badly. I don't contribute to the casual sex dating market. I keep standards for people that I keep in my life very high, both male and female. And it's these standards and these morals and these values which I live by, which ultimately reflects on the type of women I attract into my life. And it's so funny because the men and women who don't tick those boxes for me are literally invisible to me. Sometimes I'm out with my friends and I see a girl and I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, oh my god, she's so beautiful and pure and feminine. I bet she's gonna make a man very happy one day. And then I turn to my friend and I say to him, bro, did you just see that girl? And he's like, no, which one? Oh, that one? Yeah, she's okay. But then they see some blonde bimbo who's just fucking left the club and is stumbling down the street, who's probably talked to 5 different dudes tonight, and they think, auga, auga. Oh my god, bro, you see her? Oh, she's so hot, man. Whoa. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Like the idea that people become invisible to you depending on your morality, your values, how you spend your time. But I really do believe that to be true, just from personal experience. I find that people who are very involved in the casual sex dating scene almost become invisible to good girls. They don't even notice them. They just continue to notice the same low quality women who at any point would choose the idea of fun at the club over a fulfilling long-term relationship. When you disconnect from the clubbing lifestyle and the casual sex lifestyle, you become attracted to a whole different echelon of women. And the sad thing is, for the guys who do engage in the casual sex market, these are also the same types of guys who complain the most about how women are all promiscuous and so on and so forth. The problem is they're locking themselves in a self-fulfilling prophecy by continuing to engage in the casual sex market and continuing to remain invisible to good women. So therefore the only women they do attract into their lives are of the promiscuous variety. And that makes their theory of all women being promiscuous true. When the reality was, if they just disconnected from their casual sex degenerate lifestyle, they would start to actually notice and be noticed by good women. They're stuck in a loop. Anyway, that was a tangent. Sam, where can I find good women? Well, I can give you a super autistic answer. I could tell you that you could find them in church, you could find them in the library, you could find them in East Europe where religious values are still prevalent. But honestly, bro, you can find good girls anywhere in the world. Even on my small party island in Thailand, I occasionally see a good prospect for what appears to be perhaps a good girl. Obviously, I don't know because I never speak to them because I have a girlfriend, but I find I have a sense for these things. As a general rule of thumb, I would say the higher the population dense it becomes, the more hedonistic it becomes, and it becomes harder to find good women then. But outside of that, honestly, the real answer lies within yourself. You will find good women once you become a good man. And I think that's what a lot of men miss. They never take any sort of accountability and they just point the finger at women. The dating market sucks, women are all promiscuous, they're all hoes. First, be that guy. Be him. I am him. I don't engage in casual sex. I don't entertain low-tier women. I hold a high standard for people around me, male and female. Be him and watch as the type of women that you fantasize about who tick all of your boxes suddenly just start to walk into your life. They'll literally just appear like that. If you want to learn how to make money online from the comfort of your bedroom or traveling the world with your laptop, I teach over 500 of my students how to do exactly that. And as you can see on the screen, we're getting excellent results inside of my academy. You could be next. Take care, boys.